Okay, so we're going to start 3.8. We're not actually doing section 3.8, okay?
I almost failed.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I slipped on the floor.
Where is that?
Okay, so we're not actually doing section 3.8. We're skipping it. We're not solving by inverse matrices. Okay? What's the matter?
Eric, it wasn't me, it was Eric.
What is it, a
It's the road.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
It's
Y'all,
pretty
let's
funny.
go on video.
Oh, yeah, I can remember.
So, we are doing the extension to 3.8, which is augmented matrices. One of my favorite things that we do in here. Okay? So, one of my favorite things that we do in here. All right. So, get away. All right. So, first thing I'm going to do is show you the end product. What are you looking for in the end? In the end, you want your matrix to look like this. And then there'll be a number right here. I'll just call it an X. Okay? And then 0, 1. And there'll be a number right here. We'll call it a Y. All right? So X and Y are numbers. Okay? And this is called, you're fixing to learn a new word. All right? It's called reduced row echelon. Echelon. Reduced row echelon form. That's what this is called. Okay? So this is the way we're going to learn to kind of draw it and work with it. All right? Now, at first, when I tell you to do this, guys, I know some of you are going to go, oh my gosh, she's just a little too much, okay? But it's important. And so after we work the first problem, then when we're starting to work the second problem, I will show you why you need to do it like I do it. Stop playing. So, you need to divide off the last column, okay? Divide off the last column, and then you need to draw this diagonal from the upper left to the bottom right, all right? That diagonal, this is what is called the principal diagonal. Now, what do we want our principal diagonal to be?
Diagonal.
Yeah, but what do you want it to be? Ones. Right? Isn't that what's in there? Ones. Okay? And then, and it's important that you do what I asked you to do. Okay? These are, you're going to make triangles. Not circles, not squares, but you're going to make triangles out of these right here. Alright? And what do we want our triangles to be?
0.
Yeah, the triangles must be zeros. And that is reduced row echelon form. Notice that when you divide off this last column, that you have a square matrix. Okay? It's not really a square matrix because that's included, but it's like it makes one. Okay? So here's my diagonal. We want it to be ones. And these other ones we want to be zeros. We will make the zeros first and then we'll worry about the ones. The ones are the last thing. All right, so what are going to be the directions that we're going to follow? All right, look guys, are these directions in your book? No, they're not. Okay, I made these up myself. When I start writing them, you'll be like, oh yeah, she made those up. Okay, so I'm just trying to help you because sometimes when you get into upper level math, you kind of go, wow, they're not telling me how to do the problem. And sometimes you have to make up your own directions, okay? But that helps you. All right, so number one, you're going to make your matrix. And that's not going to be hard. That'll be a breeze, okay? You're going to make it from your equations. Your equations must be in standard form. Okay? You're going to make your matrix, and your equations have to be in standard form. If they're not in standard form, you're going to put them in standard form. Number 2, you are going to separate the last column, just like we did up there, okay? Now, after a while, we won't have to do that anymore. Like even today, we'll stop doing it, okay? Because your brain will kind of separate it off for you and we won't have to actually draw that dotted line, okay? Number 3, you're gonna draw the principal diagonal and the triangles. Okay? Draw the principal diagonal and the triangles. Just like we did up there. Make it look like that. Number 4, you're going to make your zeros. Okay? Now here's where we're going to start having some issues. Okay? So one of the things is that kids don't put their directions in the right place. You're going to tell me how you made your zeros. Okay? And you have to put your directions in the right place. Guys, I'm not just grading your final answer. I'm working through the whole entire problem just like you did it. It might be different than the way I did it, but I'll be able to do it because you will have all your directions there. Okay? So, write this down. Directions go where the answer is. Okay? Where the answer is, not where it comes from. I can't think of a better way to say that. If you know a better way after we get started to say it, then please, please tell me. Okay? But once we get started, you'll understand, because I'll make a huge point more than once. I'll say, okay, so here's going to be the issue. Some of you are going to put your directions here. That is not where they go. Okay? So here's the last thing. The last thing you'll do is make your ones. Okay, so I don't know any better way to do it than just to work a problem for you. Some of you are going to catch on rather quickly, and some of you, it's going to take you a little while. Okay, so here's my first example. Example 1. My system, y'all, this augmented matrices is just another way to work a system of equations. Okay, remember we've done graphing, we've done substitution, we've done elimination, we've done Cramer's rule, and now we're doing augmented matrices. This is probably, I mean, Cramer's rule has to be the coolest because it's just crazy, but this one is probably my favorite. So, pay attention. 3x plus 2y equals 6, and x minus 4y equals negative 12. Okay. So the very first thing we're going to do is make your matrix. Your equation must be in standard form. All my equations are in standard form. Okay? So I'm going to make my matrix. Watch. My first row, thank you. My first row of my matrix is, look up here at the board. Look up here. My first row of my matrix is 3, 2, 6. You see it? 3, 2, 6. What's the second row of my matrix?
1, negative 4, negative 12.
Perfect. 1, negative 4, negative 12. Now, the next thing it tells you to do, it tells you what to do. It says separate your last column. So we'll separate that dude off. Now it says draw your principal diagonal and your triangles. So here's my principal diagonal. And here are my triangles. Okay, you got it? All right, now it says make your zeros. Okay, so we can either make, your zeros go where the triangles are. Remember, we wrote that down. The triangles must be zeros. So you can either make a 0 out of this number right here. You're going to make zeros by adding rows. Okay, now if I'm adding these 2 rows to make a 0, obviously I need to be adding a negative 4 and a...
Negative 4.
And a what?
Negative 4.
And a 4, right? Negative 4 and 4 will make a 0. Can you make a 4 out of this?
Yes.
Okay, so we can make a 0 there. Do you get it?
Yes.
Okay, could we make a 0 here?
Yes.
What would I need to do to this guy?
Times by -3.
Multiplying by -3, and then when I added him to the +3, he would make a 0. Okay? Which one is the best? Y'all look, you could do it either way. Second period said, we want the 1, because I let them choose the 1 or the 2. And I said, one's better than the other one, but you can do either way. And they chose the 1. And I said, okay, what would y'all choose?
2.
Yeah, why would you choose 2? Why is it better?
You got to change it. It's just positive type.
Yeah, he's already got these different signs, so when you add them, he's gonna go away. I don't have to multiply by negative, in other words, okay? And I know that one of my weaknesses is dropping negative signs, okay? So if I can keep from multiplying by a negative, I probably will do that. Okay, so we're gonna make this guy a 0. Now watch what I'm gonna do to show the person that's grading my paper and to keep myself on track. That I'm fixing to make this a 0. Now, if somebody's looking at my paper, what does that circle say to them?
It's a 0.
I'm fixing to make this guy a 0. Okay? My next step is to make this guy a 0. Alright, so how am I going to make him a 0? Well, I'm going to multiply him by 2 and add him to that. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So here's what I have to do. I'm going to say 2 times row 1 plus row 2. Isn't that what you just said do? Multiply this guy who's in row 1 by 2 and add him to this guy in row 2. Are you with me? Now look where your directions go. The directions go where my answer is going to go. Okay? Here's the mistake. The mistake, our kids are going to write it right here. People, are these the directions that gave you that row?
No.
No, I got that row from there. I just wrote it down. I didn't need any directions. Do you understand? These directions are giving me this. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my left finger on this right here, and I'm going to put my right finger right here because I'm multiplying these. Okay? So look what I'm doing. I'm multiplying and adding. Multiplying and adding. Multiplying and adding. Multiplying and adding. Every time I start to do it, that's what I'll go back and do and make sure I know what's going on. Is that exactly the way we multiply a matrix? Yeah. Rows times columns. See? Do you see I'm doing the same kind of movement? All right. So, what do you get when you multiply? 6. And 1 make what? 7. Are you with me? What do you get when you multiply?
4.
And -4 make,
0.
and that is all I cared about. I don't give a hoot about anything else. As long as I made that a 0, I'm happy as a clam. Okay? Multiply. Tell me what you get. 12. And -12 make 0. Okay. Now look back up here at our reduced row echelon form. Here's your reduced row echelon form. Do you see that first row? It's supposed to be 1, 0, and some number. Okay? So, whoa. I got my 0, but I got a 7 right here. How can I make this a 1?
-6.
No. You can't subtract from here because you can't subtract a row. Okay? What could I do? What about this? Can I divide by 7? What is 7 divided by 7?
1.
1. So a lot of kids don't like this, but you're gonna erase it and write a 1. Okay? You're gonna erase it and write a 1. I'm gonna tell you why it'll be okay. Okay? Because some kids are like, oh, I don't like to erase, I'm gonna write that row over. Whatever, people. You're just taking up more space. What's 0 divided by 7?
0.
What's 0 divided by 7?
0.
So, there's my answer.
What if
Okay?
it was like, what if that end one wasn't a 0?
Then I would
Is that
divide it by,
okay?
if it were,
It'll be a fraction?
if it were a 3, it'd be 7/3. I mean, 3/7, sorry. Okay, so let me tell you how I'm gonna grade your paper. So, whenever I get your paper, I look and I make sure you wrote this all down right. And then I go, okay, they made this a 0, and this is how. 6 and 1 makes 7. Divided by 7 is 1. You see what I just did? 4 and -4 make 0. Divided by 7 is 0. 12 and -12 make 0. Divided by 7 is 0. As long as you got that right, you'll have a little pink check right there beside that row. And then I'll move on to the next row. Okay? Now, all we're going to do is write this last row down. 1, negative 4, negative 12. 1, negative 4, negative 12. When you get really good, you can do it all in one step, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna divide off this last column. We're gonna draw our principal diagonal and make our triangles. All right, everybody with me? So what do we lack?
0,
Yeah,
that one.
this guy right here, making him a 0, right? So what do we do to say that's what we're fixing to do?
Circle.
We circle it. Okay? Now, how am I going to make that a 0?
Negative.
Be more specific.
Negative 1.
Negative 1 times what?
1. Oh, wait. Negative what? I'm lost.
Okay, so negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, and then what?
Times 0.
Add it to 1? You can't multiply by 0, you'll have zeros all the way across. Be bad.
By 1 and you get 0.
Okay, so could I multiply either one of these by negative 1?
Yes.
Okay, so which one do you want to multiply by negative 1?
Bottom.
The bottom one? Okay, so I'm gonna say negative 1. Now, where do my directions go? Do they go right here?
No.
People, you already got that answer. What? I don't need any directions for that. I wrote it down from right here. I didn't do anything. Okay, I'm fixing to change it down here. I'm gonna make that a dang 0. Okay, so this is where your directions go. And y'all said times row 1? Is that what y'all said?
Yes.
2.
Row 2? What did y'all say?
Row
Row 2? Negative 1 times row 2 plus row 1. Are you with me? So my left finger is here and my right finger is here. Watch what I'm doing. Multiplying and adding. Going up. Multiplying and adding. Multiplying and adding. You see what I'm doing? Everybody got it? Here we go. Multiply. Tell me what you get. Negative 1 and 1 make
0.
boom. All right? Multiply.
4.
And 0 make
4.
multiply. And tell me what you get. And 0 make. What do I really want here? A 1. So what am I fixing to do? Divide by 4. What's 4 divided by 4?
1.
1. So I'll erase that 4. Put me a 1. Okay? What's 12 divided by 4? 3. And my first row is 1, 0, 0. Do you agree with me? Okay. So, somebody tell me what X is.
0.
And somebody tell me what Y is.
So is the goal just?
Will it always stay this, oh, sorry. Will it always stay the same? That top row?
As long as your 1's right here. If you accidentally, well, and it'll happen later on, but yeah, for right now, yes, yours will. With this one, it will. Okay? So let me explain to you why it's that way. Okay? So it is that way because, y'all, do you understand that this first column, those are all X's? Do you agree? My second column, what are they? Y's. And these are just plain old numbers. Do you get it? So this right here, this is an equation, isn't it? It says 1x plus 0y equals 0. Well, what's 0 times anything?
0.
So that's gone. So x is 0. What does this equation say? 0x plus 1y equals 3. Well, 0 times anything is 0, so that goes away. So I'm left with y equals 3. You like it?
No.
No? Okay. Well, let's work some more. Okay, so what if I worked this another way for you? Because some people don't like, does it bother you doing all these steps at one time?
Yes.
Yes?
Whole thing.
Okay, well, look, I mean, let's be honest, how many problems have I worked? One, okay? So I'm just asking you, does it bother you? Sometimes it bothers kids, they don't like to do all this stuff at one time. I'm gonna show you that you could do it this way, okay? I'll do the same problem. 3, 2, 6, 1, negative 4, negative 12. I'm not gonna do it this way, okay? But I am gonna show you, because some of you might like it. All right, I'm gonna divide that off. Here's my principal diagonal. And here are my triangles.
Can we use different colors like on worksheets?
Yes. I don't have any worksheets on this, y'all, just gonna be practicing problems. When? Today, tomorrow, Friday, and Monday. Does that tell you it's not easy, okay? Once you get it, like you can fly through it, you can work them really fast. Some kids will get it rather quickly, some kids struggle with it, okay? So I'm giving you that many days in class, but I'll tell you on the next problem what's gonna happen.
Is it the same
Okay.
thing though?
It's the exact same thing. All right, so I'm fixing to work this problem, and I'm gonna do it exactly like I did it, but I'm gonna show more work. Okay, because some kids can't do all this in your head. All right, so I'm gonna make this a 0. So I'm gonna multiply this by 2, and then I'll add it to that. But first, I'm just gonna multiply it by 2. So I'm gonna say 2 times row 1, 6, 4, 12. And then I wrote that one down. Are you with me? Okay, so here's my diagonal, and here are my triangles. Here's my 0. How am I gonna get it? Row 1 and row 2. That's all I'm gonna do. It goes right here. Row 1 plus row 2. What's 1 plus 6? What's negative 4 and 4? What's negative 12 and 12? And now what am I gonna do? So, this becomes a 1. Okay? And this stays a 0 and a 0. I'm gonna write that next row down. Here's my diagonal. Do you see what I'm doing? Am I doing the same thing? I'm just doing what? Showing all my work. Instead of like doing all this in one step, I'm doing it in 2 steps. Some kids need that. And some kids will just need it for a little while, and then they'll be okay, and they can go do it like that other way. Okay? Now I'm gonna make this guy a 0. Well, I need to multiply one of these by negative 1. Y'all multiplied row 2 by negative 1. So I'll do the same thing. Now look, is there anything wrong with row 1? I love row 1. He tells me the answer. Okay, he said, hey guys, x is 0, x is 0. Okay, so I'll leave row 1 alone. Even if I needed to change row 1, sometimes you might, then I could change him, but then go back and pick him up like he was. Just use him and then go back. Okay, so I'm going to multiply negative 1 times row 2. So negative 1, positive 4, positive 12. Here's my principal diagonal. Here are my triangles. Okay? Gonna make this a 0. I'm gonna add row 1 and row 2. Row 1 plus row 2. Still love row 1, leaving him alone. But what's 1 and negative 1? 0 and 4. 0 and 12. Divide by 4. I get 1 here and 3 here. And there's my answer. Same as this guy over here. Okay? 5 steps, 3 steps. They don't matter to me. Okay? Anybody got a question? Which way do you like? Right or left?
Neither.
Neither?
The right.
The right? Okay. All right, so let's do another one. Are you ready?
No.
Here we go. Example 2. (3x minus y is equal to negative 2, and 5x plus 2y is equal to 15. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do on this problem. I'm going to guide you just a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to do it all with you. I'm going to guide you. All right. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to make your matrix and and do all your colors on it. Make your matrix and do all your colors. Don't pay attention to what I'm writing down. I'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, you got it? You got your matrix made? What's your first row? What's your second row?
5, 2, 15.
And you should have divided it off like this. Last column, principal diagonal, triangles. Are you with me? Okay, so how many people think it's crazy I do triangles right there?
What do you mean?
Yeah, unless you know what I know, you do. You kind of like, why is she doing triangles? Why can't I just circle them, box them in, or do whatever? Tomorrow, we're going to do a 3 by 3. This is a 2 by 2. 2 equations, 2 unknowns. This is a 3 equations, 3 unknowns. Look what happens right here. They all have to be 0. Because then it'll be x is equal to this, 1y is equal to this, 1z is equal to this, and this will be my triple. Okay? So that's why the triangles are there. So get used to drawing the triangles because we're going to expand them tomorrow. Okay? So here we go. You do this. You have 10 seconds. Put your finger on or circle who you want to make a 0 first. Put your finger on or circle who you want to make a 0 first. What did you decide?
-1.
Perfect. I love that. -1. Okay? Now, write your directions down where they belong on how you're going to accomplish that. Write your directions down. Look, we're fixing to do another matrix. Notice how I'm leaving some space over here because that's where my directions go. How are you going to make that a 0? What are you going to do? And
And add it to 2.
there you go. So write that down where it belongs.
That first number on the left always has to be a 1, right?
Yeah, but we do that last.
I know, I'm just asking.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, so here, you should have written 2 times row 1 plus row 2. Is that what you wrote?
Yes.
Did you write it down right here?
No.
Very good. Okay? Don't put it up there. Y'all, that's a common mistake. If you did it, I know because I see that all the time. I'm like, no, I don't need directions for this guy. I need directions on where you're getting this one. Okay? So where you're putting your answer is where your directions tell me how I got this answer. Okay? So we're going 2 times row 1 plus row 2. These directions are telling me where this row comes from. If you don't give me these directions, I have no earthly idea how to get this guy. Okay? And I can't grade your paper. So, left finger goes here, right finger goes here. Watch what y'all watch what if you don't know what you're doing, every time you're going to do this. I'm going to multiply and add. I'm going to multiply and add. I'm going to multiply and add. Okay? It just makes you go, okay, I got it now. I know what I'm doing. All right? So, what do you get when you multiply?
3,
6 and 5 make what? 11. Okay? What do you get when you multiply?
-3.
-2 and 2 make,
0.
okay?
Crap.
Okay? What do you get when you multiply?
-4.
-4 and 15 make 11. What? What are we fixing to do, people?
Divide by 11.
Very good. Divide by 11. people take your stinking eraser and 11 divided by 11 is 1. Erase one of those ones, okay?
Oh, I'm an idiot, I erased them both, and then wrote one.
That's okay. So 0, y'all, I don't even think about the zeros because 0 divided by anything is what? 0, they don't ever change, okay? So 11 divided by 11, still 1, okay? Guess what X is, people?
1.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. All right, so are you with me? Now tell me what to do.
Rewrite that bottom.
Yeah, right, now listen to me, this is what's cool. After you've done some of them, some of y'all will start using this row right here and making that 0. You'll say -5 times the new row 1 plus new row 1 plus row 2. And you'll go -5 and 5 make 0.
You can do that?
Yes, and you can work the problem in one step.
I've been sitting here for a minute trying to figure out what you can do to 5 to make it a 0.
So, I'm just gonna write it down. It's okay. If you don't do it in one step, it's not a big deal. Okay? Now watch what I'm fixing to do. I'm gonna quit knocking that guy off. Okay? Because your brain's doing it anyway, right? So I'm just gonna draw my principal diagonal, and eventually I'll stop doing that. But I will never stop drawing my triangles. Okay? Okay, so this is the only thing I have left to do, guys. How am I gonna make this guy a 0? Multiply what?
By -1. By negative, what did you say? You said something.
What? If I multiply by -1, I got -5. Is
And then
negative
you
5
add
and
row
1?
2.
Is -5, listen, is -5 and 1 0? Then that ain't working for you. Yeah, okay, so -5 times row 1 plus row 2. Okay, y'all, once you make one of those ones, he's gonna make those bigger numbers easier. Because he's a 1.
What?
Okay?
Did you write it the wrong?
Oh, you're bad.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I guess I'm just becoming y'all. I need to quit. All right, so thank y'all. I was just seeing if y'all are paying attention. So -5 times row 1 plus row 2. That's where it should be. And y'all, row 1 is lovely. Please don't change it. Okay?
Wait.
All right.
We're about to change it though.
Yes, I know, not row 1. No, I'm not gonna change it. I might change it up here and use it, but I'm not really gonna change it, okay? So, multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add. So, what do you get when you multiply?
-5.
And 5 make
0.
multiply.
0.
And 2 make
2.
multiply.
-5.
10.
And 15 make 10. What am I gonna do?
Divide by 2.
And 2 divided by 2 is
1.
10 divided by 2 is, what's y?
5. Are you dividing just to simplify?
Yeah, I'm dividing to make my ones. But I don't make my ones until I have my 0. Okay?
So do you
Sometimes kids get mixed up and they'll go, oh, I need to make this guy a 1. No, not until you make a 0.
So the diagonal this way, your main diagonal has to be 2 1s.
Principal, see, here it is right here. See, your principal diagonal has to be 1s and everything else is 0s. Look right here. You see, this is a view into tomorrow. Principal diagonal must be 1s, and everything in my triangles has to be 0s. Okay? It's gonna get bigger. Y'all listen to me.
Are we gonna do
Here's
4
the
by
deal.
4s?
No. Here's the deal. If you can't do a 2 by 2, can you do a 3 by 3?
No.
You're not going to.
I can't do a
Okay?
2 Rubik's
So we gotta do a 2 by 2. All right. So let's do another one, and let's do one that's really difficult. Okay? Let's do one that's really difficult. All right.
It's more difficult.
Yes. Example 3. Are you ready? Example 3. So, 7x plus 5y is equal to negative 12. And 3x minus 4y is equal to 1. All right, make your matrix and decorate him up. I'm only going to draw my triangles, okay? I'm only going to draw my triangles. You can draw whatever you want to. Okay, so you got it? Yours looks something like this, right? You might have a blue dotted line or some kind of dotted line here, and you might have your principal diagonal drawn, that's fine. Okay, so you're going to have to decide. Either 5 becomes 0 or 3 becomes 0. So make your choice and put your finger on it. What did you choose?
5.
Why?
Because it's a negative 4.
That's exactly right. I'm going to choose 5 because they already have opposite signs. I don't have to multiply by a negative. When I add them, I can make them go away. Okay? Now, what can I add? What multiples of 5 and 4 can I add and make 0? The least common multiple. 20. Okay? So I'm making 20. I'm making a positive 20 here and a negative 20 here, so that when I add them together, I get a 0 right there. Do you understand why I said this one was more difficult?
Yeah.
We're still doing the same thing, but now you're having to multiply 2 things. Okay? Y'all listen to me. Learn how to use your fingers. You may think you don't need it on a 2x2, but on a 3x3, you're going to need some. All right? So what am I going to have to multiply the first row by? 4, and the second row? 5. Where do your directions go? On another matrix on the which row?
The first row.
Yeah, the first row, because that's where I make them a 0. So I'm going to say, what? What are my directions?
4 times row 1.
Very good. 4 times row 1 plus 5 times R2. Now look, watch every time, guys, watch what I'm doing, okay? After you've done them for a while, you won't have to do this anymore. But when you're first starting, do it. Just go multiply, multiply, and add. Multiply, multiply, add. Multiply, multiply, add. Notice how I did it a little bit different this time because I had to multiply both of them by something. I didn't just go multiply and add, multiply and add. All right, so here we go. Multiply.
28.
Multiply.
15.
Okay, and some of us can't do that in our heads. So you go over here and you got a little chicken scratch. 28 and 15. 8 and 5 is 13. Carry your 1. 43. So I write 43 down. Okay? And then I go back and I do the next one. Multiply.
20.
And
Negative 20.
what? 0. All right? Multiply.
36.
Negative
What?
48.
Negative 48
Plus 5.
and 5. What's negative 48 and 5?
Negative 43.
Oh my word. Please tell me you know what we're going to do.
Divide by 43.
People, did just any Joe Schmo make these problems up? No. What is 43 divided by 43?
1.
So X is 1?
No,
And what is negative 43 divided by 43?
Negative.
Negative 1. So what's X?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Okay? Negative 1. Now I'm going to say this now, okay? Because some kids get really sneaky, and once they find their X, what do they want to go do?
Plug it in.
Plug it in. No, people, we're not cheating. We're doing it by augmented matrices. It's not half augmented and half substitution. Okay? It's not augstitution. We're not doing that.
But don't hear me.
Because you're not going to have a calculator, first of all. And second of all, you have to show me on your paper. Because remember what I'm looking for. I'm following everything. Do y'all think this takes me a long time to grade?
Yes.
Yes, I have to read everybody's directions and do everybody's problem. Okay?
So if we do half and half,
Yes, I will. So here we go. So here's my triangles. We have one thing left to do. Do you agree with me? What is it?
to find the other 0.
Yeah, make this guy a 0. So write your directions down. What do your directions say?
3 times R2. 3
What?
times
R-
R1. Negative 3 times
There you
R1
go.
plus R2.
Very good. Presley, negative 3 times R1 plus R2. Make sure you put them in the right place. Don't put them up there. Okay? They go down here. Are we messing with row 1?
No.
No. Write that dude down. All right? So, watch what I'm doing. Multiplying and adding, multiplying and adding, multiplying and adding. So, multiply, what do you get?
Negative 3.
And 3 make
0.
boom. Multiply.
0.
And negative 4 make
Negative 4.
multiply.
3.
And 1 make,
4.
what am I fixing to do?
Divide by 4.
Divide by what?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Okay? Because remember, we want this to be a 1. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. And 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. So my answer is negative 1, negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to say something really quick and then I'm going to give you 5 problems that you need to do tonight. Okay? So here's what I'm going to say. Y'all, this is not just a math problem. This is planning, this is multitasking, this is writing down what I'm doing. There's a lot of things involved here besides just working a math problem. That's why these are important. That's why we're spending this many days on them. Okay? So, here are your 5 problems. All right? Take a picture, write them down, whatever. I would get started on number 1 or number 3. It is number 1, but.
Is that a 4 on number 1?
Yes. Okay, get started on number 3. All right, if you took a picture, you got them in your phone. So get started on number 3 and see if you can do it by yourself. Make sure that you're writing the directions in the right place.
I never know where to
Do we work them on separate paper in our journal?
I don't care where you work them. We're not turning them in.